Zion Methodist Church in Longdale, Mississippi. Before that summer ended, Mississippi would burn. 3 men, 3 days.
It's not safe, guys, I promise. I'm trying to save you. Michael Schwerner, Andrew Goodman, James Chaney. For what are you willing to live? For what are you willing to die? Over the next 12 minutes, I'm going to share a heart-wrenching story, a gut-churning story about human nature, about hatred, and about hope. These 3 men were freedom riders. They left Ohio to go to Mississippi. Michael Schwerner, young, Jewish, 24 years old. He had a reputation of fighting for the underdog. His best friend as a child was Robert Reich, former Clinton labor secretary, a small guy. And when his parents asked him, "Why are you going to Mississippi?" he said, "I want to live in an integrated society." Andrew Goodman, also young, 21, idealistic, Jewish. He came from an activist family, progressive, and he believed that he needed to stand up from his sheltered life and go fight injustice. James Chaney, local, Mississippian. He was described as innocuous as an alley cat, meaning he could go anywhere, do anything, because he was invisible to the white majority in Mississippi. He was an activist. Throughout the night, driving from Ohio to Mississippi, they shared their dreams, their hopes. In the battered blue van that was owned by CORE, Congress on Racial Equality, they shared what they hoped to achieve. That precious cargo of hope was there so that they could break the back of voter prevention. If Mississippi fell, then the rest of the South would slowly fall into line. They arrived in Meridian, Mississippi at a CORE office, safe and sound, on the night of June 20th. They slept, ate, and laid out the plan for the rest of the day. On the morning of June 21st, they prepared to leave. And they told the officials there, if we do not arrive back here by 4:30, something's gone wrong. Something's gone terribly wrong. Call the authorities. They will know what to do. So they drove from Meridian, Mississippi, into bloody Neshoba County. And they were going to investigate the burning of Mount Zion Methodist Church. When they arrived, this is the story that greeted them. June 16th, the church burned down. how it happened? The White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, a particularly virulent strain of Klan in Mississippi, found out that Michael Schwerner was planning to use that black church as a freedom school for education and to also register blacks to vote. Now, they didn't like that at all. So on the night of the 16th, when 5 black men and 5 black women left the church, they were greeted by their church, surrounded by Klansmen in full robes with guns. They were forced to their knees and beaten and watched their beloved church go up in smoke. They found out that the target that day was not their church. They were looking for Michael Schwerner, the Klansmen were. They were going to kill him. And he found out that day from the black parishioners that a hit had been put out on his life, a bounty put on his head. He was slated to die. Michael was okay with that. I'm sure he was frightened, but he had committed to something greater than himself. And he, James Chaney, and Andrew Goodman left. If they were to go down Route 491, it's a straight shot right into Meridian. The relative safety of Meridian, things would be okay. But along the way, there were abandoned buildings, and it was perfect. The perfect kill zone for an ambush. So they drove through Neshoba County toward the county seat. If they make this decision, it's a straight shot. If they go this way, it's into the heart of bloody Neshoba County. 2 things happened. First, they got a flat tire. Second, they were stopped by Deputy Sheriff Cecil Ray Price. Now, Cecil Ray was a good old boy. As a matter of fact, Cecil belonged to the Klan. And back then, the Klan was your business community, many of your teachers, the whole social structure. They were stopped for allegedly going 65 in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. James Chaney was driving. He was arrested. Andrew Goodman and Michael Schwerner were arrested for suspicion of having burned the church back on the 16th, even though they were well out of state. Try as they might, Corps officials tried to locate them. Calls weren't returned. And when Schwerner and Goodman were trying to call out, get a phone call, that was not going to happen. I know some of you are thinking, what about their Miranda rights? This is 1964. Miranda did not develop until 1966. 3 men, alone, adrift, in a Mississippi jail. James Chaney paid the bail, paid $30, and he was free to go. Andrew Goodman and Michael Schwerner came with him. It's about 10 o'clock at night. They get in their car, and they begin to drive. Cecil Ray Price makes a phone call, and like that, 2 carloads full of Klansmen are on their tail. A high-speed chase ensues. Again, the relative safety of Meridian, Mississippi is right within reach. The high-speed chase continues a little bit more, then slowly the battered Corps station wagon slows down, pulls over, and stops. It was the last time these 3 men were seen alive. It's the night of June 21st. On June 22nd, their disappearance triggered massive phone calls from Mississippi all the way up to Washington, D.C. The Corps officials contacted John Doerr. John Doerr's in the Justice Department. John Doerr walks over to Robert Kennedy's office and says, "You must do something." Robert Kennedy is the Attorney General at this time. He marches over to Lyndon Johnson, president, and says, "You've got to do something here." Lyndon Johnson details 150 naval officers as the commander-in-chief to search for these 3 missing men. And then he exerts pressure on J. Edgar Hoover to investigate. J. Edgar Hoover, as head of the FBI, was very resistant to the entire civil rights movement. And as he dug in his heels, President Johnson increased his pressure. From that disappearance, several things emerged. One, the first local office in Mississippi opened up. Second, intense media scrutiny brought the brutality of the American South into Midwestern homes, and our nation was shocked. Third, 44 days later, their bodies were found. Schwerner, Goodman, and Cheney, buried in an earthen dam. To say that the trial afterwards was a mockery insults the word mockery. For the murders, many men walked, and several of them were given 3, 4, 5, 6-year sentences. This is the 50th year of this crime. I want you to remember them not as dusty footnotes in an old textbook on history, but remember them for the courage they had to go from their comfortable lives into the belly of the beast, into hell. Remember them for the strength that they exhibited. Remember them also for this propitious moment that changed American history. I want you to remember them as their families remembered them before they went missing. Michael Schwerner, Andrew Goodman, James Cheney. Now, for what are you willing to die?
That is the end of the Black History Month celebration, so everybody have a good and safe day unless you have questions for Corey.